Hello YouTube, how is everyone doing? It's the Professional here. Today I want to do another top list video, and this video was a fan requested one, as people have asked me to do one on the top 5 most overpriced vehicles. I decided on doing top 10 instead, because there's just so many overpriced vehicles. If you guys have any other ideas for top 5 lists, let me know down below. But here on this video, we are not going to be covering the Luxor Deluxe or the Swift Deluxe. Those two vehicles will not be on this list, and the reason is because they are the most expensive vehicles in the game, with the helicopter being 5 million and the jet being 10 million. They are meant to be expensive because they are gold plated, and they're there mostly for bragging rights, no other purpose. It wouldn't be much of a video if it was just Luxor Deluxe and Swift Deluxe number 1 and number 2. Instead, I will look at special vehicles that have special abilities that are just generally overpriced. By overpriced, I mean they are just not worth the asking price and are charging way too much for the vehicle. I'm not saying these vehicles are bad either, some are really good, don't get me wrong, but just that they're not worth the price they're listed for. Now, let's get started. Starting off at number 10, we have the RC Bandito. This is not something you get into, but it's still a remote-controlled vehicle. This vehicle is the cheapest on this list with $1,590,000. However, though, that price, it's not really worth it for an RC car. I mean, think about it this way. $1,590,000, is it really worth it for an RC car? For a normal vehicle, other vehicles, we'd think is a cheap price. But for the RC Bandito, not worth it. I think the RC Bandito is very helpful for situations, especially ones where you want to get away from griefers. But it's just not worth the asking price. I would say a maximum of $1 million would be fair, but anything under that, no. $1,590,000 just too much for an RC vehicle. At number 9, we have the Volatile Plane. This plane costs a total of $3,724,000, but you can get it for a trade price of $2,800,000 if you complete the 5th setup mission for the Act 3 in the Doomsday Heist. The Volatile, it's faster than, for instance, than the Bombushka, and it can carry 100 bombs, more than any other plane in the game, which is definitely a plus. However, it's a very large target, and it gets destroyed with only 1 RPG. The worst part about the plane is that it has no explosive cannons. They are just regular remote-controlled machine guns on the top and the bottom. If the guns on it were explosive, this plane would not be on this list. But the $2,800,000 trade price, it's just not worth it in this case. Next at number 8, we have the Vigilante, which costs $3,750,000. There is no trade price for this vehicle. The Vigilante is a great vehicle in that it's one of the fastest in the game. It can get across the map no problem, as here you see me using it in Sightseer. Its boost is great and effective, but its handling isn't the greatest. It also gets destroyed in 1 RPG. The one thing that does make the vehicle worth it for some players is that it's the best vehicle to use in heists. You cannot be shot out the back, and it will get you across the map easy. The best part is its missiles are the best in the game. They are ruiner missiles. They will almost always hit whatever target you are aiming at, very rarely missing. This can be very useful for clearing out enemies during heists, but it does not make the vehicle worth it outside heists. That's why when people ask me, should I buy a Vigilante, I say if you're a heist player, get it. But if you're not a heist player, you will find it mostly useless. Moving on at number 7, we have the Scram jet, which costs $4,628,400, but you can get it for a trade price of $3,480,000 if you win a round of Hunting Pack Remix. This vehicle, unlike the Vigilante, can jump, but even though it's cheaper than the Vigilante, the reason I think it's more overpriced is because it can't be used in heists, and I do not understand the reasoning for this. The vehicle also has an inferior boost to the Vigilante. The Vigilante has a much better boost. While its handling is a little better than the Vigilante and it has the same missiles, it will not beat the Vigilante in an overall speed test. If you're going to get one of the vehicles, just get the Vigilante. At number 6, we have the Valkyrie helicopter. This helicopter costs a total of $3,790,500, but you can get it for a trade price of $2,850,000 if you complete the Humane Labs heist. This helicopter, while it might have been good at one point, is so out of date today. I almost never see anyone using this thing. In order for this helicopter to be effective, you need at least 2 people, a pilot and a gunner, and its most effective weapon is the remote-controlled explosive cannon. However, the helicopter gets destroyed in only 1 RPG. Even though it can carry 4 people and has 2 miniguns, the miniguns, they don't really serve that much of a purpose. The Hunter, it's a little more expensive with a trade price of $3,100,000, but it's much more better. It has better agility, much faster speed, better weapons, the same remote-controlled gun, homing missiles, barrage missiles, and it can even drop 50 bombs. Plus it has flares, which the Valkyrie doesn't, and the Hunter, it can take multiple missiles, while the Valkyrie, it can only take 1. Next at number 5, we have the Cerberus, which is the most expensive Arena Wars vehicle. Almost all Arena Wars vehicles are ridiculously expensive, but if I was to pick one that's just way too expensive and completely not worth it, then it's the Cerberus. This thing costs a regular price of $3,870,300, but you can get it for a trade price of $2,910,000. However, the trade price, even though it's there, it's almost pointless. You have a very little chance of actually getting the trade price for it because they are random in the arena. You're much more likely to get random trade prices for clothing than for vehicles. The base price is really expensive, and the upgrades are extremely overpriced. You will be spending over $5 million on this thing, and the worst part is, even though you invest so much into this vehicle, it's so bad in the arena. It has a unique flamethrower weapon, but it's not much help because the handling on this vehicle is so bad. If you try to use it in the arena, everyone will target you first because you're such a big target, and you will get destroyed easily. It also takes only one RPG, which does not help its case. At number 4, we have the Tulla, which costs $5,173,700, but you can buy it for a trade price of $3,890,000 if you complete 21 cargo sourcing missions for the hangar. The Tulla is a very overpriced plane, but not only is it overpriced, it's pretty useless. The best thing about the plane is that it can carry 5 people, not much more than that. It is not a very fast plane, and it has a tail gunner, but the problem is that the tail of the plane ruins the view of the gunner, and the gunner can't aim all around 360. They only have a 180 view, so it's ineffective at hostile aircraft. It can hover like a helicopter, but it's not of much help. While it can land in the water, the Seabreeze can as well, and that plane is much cheaper, with a trade price of $850,000. While the Seabreeze can only carry 2 people, it's much more faster, has much better agility, better for water landings, and its front machine guns are more effective. If you're going for an amphibious aircraft, get the Seabreeze. Don't waste money on this plane unless you plan on taking a lot of people with you. Next at number 3, we have the Ruiner 2000. This vehicle costs a total of $5,745,600, but you can get it for a trade price of $4,320,000 if you complete the Ruiner mission Arms Embargo for SecuroServe. Even the trade price on this vehicle is outrageously expensive, over $4 million. It's way too much, and you also have to buy upgrades on it if you want to make it more effective. The only really unique thing about the Ruiner is that it has a parachute, and that it can start its own VIP work fully loaded. Other than that, it's almost identical to the Scramjet. It can jump, and it has the same missiles. The fully loaded mission, it's good for countering Oppressor Mark II griefers, as during that mission, it has unlimited missiles and much more armor, but the regular Ruiner, it gets blown up in just one RPG. And the fully loaded VIP work, it took me around 15 minutes to do. I had to drive around the map destroying 10 turreted limos, and when I finally destroyed them all, I only got $25,000. That's it. Why would I do something like that, put all that effort into fully loaded, when I could do a headhunter in 2 to 3 minutes and get $20,000 instead? The Ruiner is definitely one of the most expensive vehicles and should come down in price. 100% should come down in price. At number 2, we have the Bambushka. This plane costs a total of $5,918,500, but you can get it for a trade price of $4,450,000 if you complete 24 cargo missions for the hangar. I hated putting this plane on this list, because I used to have a lot of fun with it, but not anymore. I'll explain. First, let's start with the abilities of the plane. It can carry 6 people and has 3 guns, one on the top, on the bottom, and one at the rear. They are all explosive cannons, and the plane also has the ability to drop bombs, and it has flares. But what is the most disappointing about this plane, and why I consider it number 2, is the fact that you can no longer store vehicles in the back. You have the ability to drop the cargo ramp open, but you can't go in there, or put anything back there. Rockstar patched this a few months ago, making an invisible wall inside the plane. The Bambushka was very useful during certain missions like post-op sales. You could put one van in the back, and you could take it over the hills to its drop. It made it easier. There's a way you can still put vehicles in the back, but you need to take some upgrades off. While this would let you still put some stuff in the back, it makes the plane less effective with less upgrades. You shouldn't have to downgrade the plane to put stuff in the back. It's only a matter of time before that is changed as well, and you won't be able to put anything in the back even without the upgrades. Some people bought this plane solely for the reason of putting vehicles in the back to mess around with their friends and help with missions. What is the point of buying a cargo plane if you can't put cargo in the back? This plane's price should be decreased by 50% now if we can't put stuff in the back anymore. That defeats the purpose of even being able to open the back ramp in the first place. Before I unveil the #1 most overpriced vehicle in GTA Online, I wanted to make a few special mentions. My first special mention is all Arena Wars vehicles. And yes, I'm serious, all Arena Wars vehicles, because I bought every single vehicle in this DLC, and I customized every single vehicle, and there is not one vehicle that I thought was not overpriced. The upgrades were extremely overpriced as well, and not only that, but they came into future, apocalyptic, and nightmare variants. And if you wanted to change the variant, you couldn't just change it in the workshop. You had to buy a whole new vehicle. So you had to buy a whole new vehicle just to change the variant on the vehicle, and everything else was so expensive and just locked behind trade prices. It was ridiculous. The vehicles in this update really were expensive and overpriced. And here's a few more special mentions. These vehicles, they don't really need intros. And #1, the most overpriced vehicle in GTA Online is the Laser Jet. This jet costs $6,500,000. That's right, you heard the price correctly. Not only is this the most overpriced vehicle in the game, but it is the oldest vehicle on this list. It has been in the game since day 1 at Fort Zancudo, but was added with Smuggler's Run in 2017 as part of Drip Feed vehicles. When the Laser was first being made a purchasable vehicle, many players got excited, but when they saw the price, they were like, what the? Who was the genius who decided this jet should be $6,500,000? And I have it, and the only reason I bought it was so I could show people that it wasn't worth buying. What can you do with this plane once you buy it? Just change the color on it. Nothing else. You can't even put flares on this thing. Really? Not even allowing us to put flares on it? And the worst part about this jet is the fact that if you own a Fort Zancudo hangar, you could easily steal them. They spawn all over the base. Even if you don't own a hangar, you can still take one, but it would be a little harder because you would get cops. Once you steal one, you can't store the aircraft, but they're always spawning there. On hangar missions, you don't even get a wanted level for taking one. And this is unfortunate, because the Laser, it's a great jet. It has great agility, it's good for dogfighting, and it's helpful in many missions like Headhunter. But it's not worth this outrageous price. And I come back to my original question. What genius came up with this $6.5 million price? Who thought this was worth the price? And that is that for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, drop a like. If you're new to my channel and enjoy my content, subscribe. Let me know what you think down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care, everyone.